Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with April's Hub Leftovers to Layouts, as well as Follow a Sketch Friday. And the sketch I'm following is a Scrap a Sketch, which is Lisa Sikorsky. Follow Sketch Friday is brought to us by Scrapping Reflections. And here is the sketch that Lisa created. It was actually for the 31st of March. And I did create it then and post on her Facebook group, but decided that I was going to use this because it's calling for some stash that I have to use. And the layout that I want to create uses lots of leftovers. So I have this picture of my dog who is in a little bit of trouble. Not a lot because he's a dog and he chewed up his toy. And then I have all these leftovers. I do have some solids and full 12 by 12 papers for this collection, or in my dog papers. However, I have a ton of embellishments. A ton. I have 4 sheets of this bark stickers, 4 of this bark sticker sheets, and one other, I can't remember, I think it's Love My Dog. And then I have this ton of ephemera and bits, and I felt like they were perfect for these little labels that Lisa's got over here on the left side. So I thought if I could use quite a few of those, that would be amazing. And that's the downside to Echo Park. They have tons and tons of wordy bits, and a lot of people like that, and that's great. But I would like a little bit of icon to go with my wordy bits. But that's all right. And so I have this 12 by 12 black cardstock, as well as this Stickabilities from Hobby Lobby Puppy Paws, which are puffy. So I have my papers and my embellishments, lots of embellishments. I have these super cute and hysterical pictures and this awesome layout by Lisa, or sketch by Lisa. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to mat my large picture on this red because it's already bordered in white. I had it printed that way on my printer. I want to put it on the red because obviously it's going to disappear on this white based paper. So then I use the opposite side, which is got like the wordy bits that say rough, bark, wolf, things like that. And I'm going to use that to help it stand out from that black background. And then because I'm using that red and that white background is going to help break up that red and white, I can tuck this scrap of the red behind here and it will not be red on red, which makes me happy. So originally I thought that I would do the orange on this side because it's the wider piece, but because the other big scrap I have is this white background as well, it's going to kind of disappear with that other one. So I flipped them. And that's why I left all of this in here, mostly because I want you to see the way that I am just tossing in scrap after scrap. So Lisa's sketch, which I'm going to hopefully remember to put it there in the left corner if it's not there, sorry. But her sketch called for some layering here. Now her layers were a little bit wider than mine. It was more like some off-kiltered matting, but this was the perfect way, without a whole lot of fuss and a whole lot of like placement, to use these strips and bits. And it didn't matter how wide they were or how big they were. I could have even used smaller pieces and like cut them and tucked them on the top and bottom to give that same effect. But I got almost all of the scraps and leftovers that I shared in the beginning just by creating this large mat behind my picture. That's one of my favorite ways to use up scraps. Okay, so then I have this little bit of blue. It's got puppy paws on it. It's kind of hard to see right now, but it's got little puppy paws on it, and it was just like a branding strip or a piece like that. So I just cut it in 2 little pieces and tucked it in to help kind of ease that stark white with that brown puppy paw. And then I almost, I almost forgot to tuck this picture in. I mean, like, that was my whole point. Like, I was looking for just one picture that was one of the dogs, because I already knew when I saw this layout that I wanted to use my puppy collections because I have all of these daggone ephemera bits. And I have 2 or 3. Maybe, I think I have 3 of each of them, which is insanity. I don't know why I thought I needed that. And I think one was accidental, but I don't know. Anywho, it doesn't matter. So what I want to do is use as many as I can in this bit over here on the left so that I can, get it out of my stash. I want to get it on a layout. It does not look pretty in the package, okay? It looks much better when it's on a layout. So that is the plan. That's the goal. I'm trying to get this stuff used. And really my only rhyme or reason here is I want to try and separate things a little bit. Like some of those are like more predominantly light blue. So I want to separate that with some of the red. I want to separate the red from the red and things like that. So, plus I want it to fit, I don't want it to look too wonky. So I'm going to end up taking this one that says part of the family, I think might be what it says. Because it doesn't really fit. And I don't want the left business meeting up with the right. So there's a good gap on Lisa's sketch. And while, yes, that I could totally come all the way over, I like that separation. So I have that dog bone hanging off of the side because she has some labels that are cut off. And I like that, but I didn't want to do that with any of the wordy bits because I felt like that was kind of silly. It's one thing if it's like washi or, repeat words or, and I have seen where, you're just using it for, tucking bit. But the whole point of me putting them on here is so that you can see them all because all of these phrases are fitting of the picture. That's why I took a couple of these off that said something like good boy. I Spoil My Dog would have been fine, but it didn't fit depth-wise, like it was not wide enough to go anywhere, or I had to give it its own little space, and that would have been fine, but I like the way that it ended up. So I have now attached them all with my ATG gun, and I am going to cut off that bone and that little orange piece of scrap. I tried a couple of things to see if I wanted them over here. And also considered originally when I pulled it out to use that frame over in the layering part, but changed my mind. I felt like it had enough layers since I put like extra bits and pieces over there. So now I'm going to pull the sticker sheet out and I'm going to try and get some of the stuff used. This alpha is going to make it harder for me to use these, but after all the doggy stuff is gone, I will cut the alpha part off and put it in my alpha drawer. Because, it's a lot of alphas. But I do pull this fire hydrant out and put it on here because I thought that was super fitting and the height of it was perfect for that little space. And it still leaves me a good gap there between the left embellishments and the right. And I think I add like a little heart here, a little dog bone, like tuck them down here underneath the other dog bone that I have attached with some Nuvo Deluxe. And then the last thing I pulled from there was that little red tag right there in the middle. And I'm actually going to fill the little tag hole with some copper. I think it's called Pop, a color. It's from scrapbook.com. And so I add that on here. And I'll be honest, I had no clue how that was going to turn out once it dried on my layout. Because I really haven't used these Pop a Color very often. And definitely not on a black layout like this. But they actually stay firm like stickles do, and keep their shape that you give them. So I like the way that they turned out. This is the only paper that I had left except for like some little itty bitty bits. And then of course you saw the ephemera that I put back in my case, and not a whole lot of it, which makes me really happy. And here is Lisa's sketch again. I really enjoyed this layout. I will be 100% honest. I completely forgot I had asked her if I could do this sketch. I didn't put it on my spreadsheet, you all. And I'm packed and ready to go to the beach. And I just happened to be on Facebook and she tagged me and like all the other people in her creative team. And it said, here's my list. And, is this right? I'm like, oh my gosh. She told me it was fine, but I really wanted to do it because I love this layout or this sketch. So anywho, here it is. If you're looking for sketches, please check out Lisa's Scrap a Sketch on Facebook. I'll try and remember to put the link below. And everyone who's hopping along or who initially started hopping along with Leftovers to Layouts is also going to be listed below. We're participating off and on throughout the whole month, so I hope you'll come and check them out. Have a great day and happy scrapping.